Hey everybody, welcome back again to another episode of Check This Out. I hope you are doing well. On this episode of Check This Out, we're going to be doing some risotto. I wasn't really planning on doing any, but we've got some nice Wagyu beef back here in the sous vide, so I figure I should have a fancy side dish to go with it. First of all, what we're going to need is 2 cups of Arborio rice or some other type of short grain rice. It's really important for risotto because the short grains, according to Alton Brown, have a different type of starch on them. So when you're stirring them for like 35 minutes, it releases, them rubbing together releases a lot of the starch off of them, and that's what makes that nice creamy texture for risotto. You're not going to be able to do that with regular long grain rice that you get in the supermarket. I use this brand here. You don't have to use that. Like I said, sushi rice will probably work just fine. Then we have 2 tablespoons of butter, about a cup of onions. Now the recipe doesn't call for it, but I like using a little bit of saffron. I've got like a 1/4 cup of warm water here and some nice Spanish saffron. Now saffron, a nice little tip on that is if you go to get any and it's cheap, don't buy it, because real saffron is very expensive. It used to be about the cost of an ounce of gold for an ounce of saffron. One way you can tell is by this color, this beautiful yellow orangish color. If you get like a murky dark orange red to it and the little stamen from the crocus fall apart, then you've got fake saffron. Then near the end of it, we're going to take some sauteed mushrooms and green peppers. You can use whatever you have around. This is going to be a mushroom risotto, but if you got some extra asparagus sitting around, risotto is a good thing for cleaning out the refrigerator. Some chicken, some pieces of broccoli, whatever you happen to have. We're going to use about a cup of sauteed mushrooms and peppers there. Then we're going to finish it off with some Parmesan Reggiano, about 2 ounces of that. And then I like to take just a little bit of fresh ground nutmeg. And yes, fresh ground does make a difference in this case here. And we're going to put that in at the end just to kind of bump up the flavor quotient a little bit. So let's get over to the stove now. All right, we're going to get started here. I've got about a 4-quart saucier. Let's turn some heat on and get things going here. We're going to start by adding our 2 tablespoons of butter. Remember, there will always be a complete list in the description down below of all the ingredients and the amounts. All right, we'll stir that around, get it melted, and then we're going to add our onions. We want to take those onions to right about to the point where they're translucent. You really don't want them to brown. And when we add the rice, we don't want that to brown either. Just get it a little bit of translucent around the edges also. Okay, our butter's starting to foam up there now. Let's go ahead and add 1 cup of onions. And if I can get them all out of the container, that would be great. Put a little pinch of salt in. We can adjust the seasoning at the end of it. Take about 5 minutes to get these translucent. I'm going to turn this heat down to about medium. I really don't want any browning on these at all. Okay, that looks pretty good on the onions there. They're starting to get a little bit soft. They're going to get a little more cooking when we put the rice in. Now we're going to take our 2 cups of Arborio rice, put that right in. We want to not brown it, but just when the edges of it look a little bit translucent, then it should be ready to go. Then we can start adding our chicken stock. I didn't mention that before because I had it warming up on the stove. Back here is 6 cups of chicken stock. You can use homemade or you can just get the stuff in the carton. The carton has about 4 cups in it, so you'll need a carton and a half if you want to make this recipe here. And you get that up to a simmer. Just hold it there because you want it nice and warm when it goes in. We want to just put enough in just to kind of cover the rice. I'm gonna put two ladles in. That looks like the rice is covered. And now you stir and stir and stir for about somewhere around 35-40 minutes. That's why I don't make risotto very often, so that's why I decided to make this video right now, because you do stand here for quite a while stirring this rice, but it's really important. It's just all the constant stirring and the rice granules rubbing against each other that loosen all of the starch and makes your risotto really nice and creamy, like you put a bunch of heavy cream in it and you didn't. So let's let that go until about all of the liquid is absorbed. Then we'll put another one in and we'll keep it up and up and up. So we'll go ahead and take a cut here right now. Come back when I get ready to put the second ladle in. Then we'll go ahead and take that one till it's about absorbed. And then we're just going to cut right to the very end then when we start putting in the other ingredients. Okay, see you in a few. All right, we've put 2 ladles in now, and the way you can tell when you're ready for more liquid to go in is to flatten out your rice here, take your spatula or spoon and draw a line through it. If you see a nice trough like that with no liquid coming back in and the rice staying on each side, kind of like the parting of the rice sea here, then you're ready for another ladle full. So let's grab the ladle, put that one in, and back to our stirring again. Well, welcome back to another episode of Stir Crazy. Fortunately, because of the miracle of modern editing, you didn't have to endure like 35-40 minutes of this. So what we're going to do now, it looks like it's getting nice and creamy. I'm going to add just the last little bit of broth. I did put the saffron in already, sorry about that. I forgot to turn on the camera for that one. Now we're going to take our vegetables here, mix that into it with the last little bit of water, or broth in this case. But there's water in broth, isn't there? So, hey, I wasn't 100% wrong. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now just to finish it up and really bind everything all together, we're going to take about 2 ounces of grated Parmesan Reggiano. And we want every bit of that out of there. Okay, now we're going to mix it through. That'll melt as it goes through there and even tighten things up a little bit more. That's looking pretty good. This should be a good complement to our Wagyu beef that we've got going in the sous vide for a little bit longer than what we wanted, but hey, that's sous vide for you. You can go longer than you need to on it. All right, now that looks like that's getting nice and gooey and sticky and cheesy. Looks like we should be ready to go now. Let's put that into a serving bowl. Take a quick shot of it, and we'll finish things up. Well, there it is. That looks absolutely fantastic. Should be a great compliment for our steak. I want to thank you once again for joining me for this episode of Check This Out, and we'll see you next time.